Standards and expectations. Talked about the most, but are they truly in place in your organization? And what is the ultimate obstruction to maintaining and evolving standards in your organization? It's John Cheplack coming to you this morning before I fire up my coaching calls, and it's a discussion. If I were to take a look at my years of coaching and thousands of coaching calls, thousands literally already this year, I think about 3,000 calls, something like that. Yeah, I'm right at about 3,000. You know, one of the conversations that comes up a ton is standards. And I want to go to being on the receiving end of standards as an agent or even as a leader. If someone's holding you to a standard, an organization's holding you to a standard, an expectation. You know, it's interesting. People think that, a standard or an expectation is something that people cook up every single night. What can I think of to make someone's life tougher on them? I mean, really, when you think about it when someone comes to you with a new standard or a new expectation. And that's just the result of us not wanting change. Here's what I want you to know. If you're in an organization and they have expectations, they have standards. Let me tell you this. The number one responsibility of a leader is to create opportunities or facilitate a condition for you to be in the best opportunities possible, to partner with you so that you can get in front of more people. It's the bottom line. It's an eyeballs game. We're all in an eyeballs game. Whether it's in the branding that a brokerage does, whether it's in the marketing the brokerage does, whether it's in leads that a team does. Number one is to create opportunities or facilitate the ability for you to go out and create opportunities. Both are a little bit different, but certainly there's similarities. And what a leader's responsibility is to be out in front. I get to be in large rooms and small rooms with high performers. And there's a lot of conversation going on, keeping a pulse on the behavior of the consumer, keeping a pulse on the expectations of the consumer. And quite frankly, standards aren't something that a leader just pulls out of the sky. It's based on a great leader keeping a pulse on the behavior of the consumer. That pulse lets the leader know the expectations of today's internet-empowered consumer. Let me say it again. The expectations of today's internet-empowered consumer. So in turn, a leader stays up at night. What keeps a leader up at night is, how can I create opportunities for the people that I lead? And number two, bringing forward to them the tools, the training, the technology, the cadence, all of those things, so that an agent has the best opportunity to convert those things. So if you look at standards and expectations, it has to do with the opportunities that are being created and making sure that you use the most productive system and process and cadence to convert those opportunities. So, because what good are opportunities if you're not converting them? So, let me flip back to a leadership standpoint, because I talk to both leaders and agents. From a leadership standpoint, here's your challenge: is that you talk about standards, but are you really holding to the standards? I mean, I'll be brutal, and it was said to me, if you're not holding to standards, you're kind of a liar. Here's our standard, but we're really not doing it. And again, keep the term liar in context here. What happens is, if you don't hold to the standards, your agents look at you and they hear what you say and say, yeah, he or she'll never enforce it, no biggie. And so you have this problem. Now let me get down to the root of this. The number one reason that leaders don't hold to standards. I mean, I can guarantee you can always ask a leader, what are your standards? What are your standards? And they'll tell you what they are. But then if you get underneath it and say, are you holding to the standards? Here's the number one problem. It's called recruiting. I don't care. Till the day I fall off this planet, I will tell you, recruiting, human being solves all problems, okay? See, the reason that leaders are a hostage to the agents when they are rolling out standards and expectations that would actually increase their income and improve their personal life, or allow them the ability to do things in their life that they're not currently able to do, is that leader is not continuing to recruit and bring people in. So number one, you have a situation where you don't have enough people to handle the business that's coming in. So you're a hostage, okay? You're afraid that if a top producer leaves you or gets upset based on a standard that you're sharing with them that will increase their productivity, improve their life, you're afraid they'll leave you. Well, you're only afraid because you're not continuing recruiting. See, here's what I want you to know as a leader. And I talk to both. I'm talking to agents, I'm talking to leaders in this. I'll toggle back and forth. You're kind of like a listing agent that has one listing. One, you don't prospect, okay? And you don't nurture. And you have nothing coming down the pike. And so you need to have a conversation with that seller, but you don't. You're weak. You're weak as a listing agent because you're afraid you'll lose that listing and you'll have no listings out there. I'm telling you, it's true. I hear it all the time. And so if you look at the parallels of an agent that's not continually prospecting, they don't have strong conversations with buyers or sellers. They're milk toast. They get walked on. Well, it's the same with leaders. Leaders that are not continually prospecting, nurturing, marketing to bring in great agents, well, they're a hostage to their agents. So here's the bottom line, and this is my intention is for everyone. I work with agents, I work with leaders. Agents, you need to embrace the standards. You need to embrace the standards and the expectations the leader is bringing to you. They're not sitting up at night cooking up things to upset you and make you do things you don't like doing. No, what they're doing is they're really thinking about you and your family. They're thinking about it keeps them up at night. How can I create opportunities, number one? And number two, what do they need to do to convert those opportunities? What are the critical things they need to do? Well, those are then conveyed out as standard and expectations. Because if you just simply tell a human being, hey, you should do this, well, people aren't going to do it. And even if you call it a standard or expectation, a lot of times agents won't take that action. And I'm telling you, agents, you need to embrace it. If you're with your leader, you're there, big reason, you trust them. And so number two, you need to listen to them. And number three, you need to take that action. Here's what I say to everyone. Question everything you're told by testing it over time and getting enough bats so that you can step back and look at the activity you've done, a body of work, and then assess. Maybe it's a skill set thing. Maybe it doesn't work. I highly doubt it, though. If you have a leader that has built a team, if you have a leader that has a brokerage, they might know what they're talking about. So leaders, you need to have standards and expectations. You need to keep recruiting so you can hold people to it, because you're doing a disservice to your agents if you're not recruiting more people in. Because here's where the disservice is. If you're not holding them accountable to standards and expectations, shame on you. You're harming their production. You're harming their production. And agents, if you don't embrace these standards and expectations your leaders give to you, go somewhere else then. Go somewhere else, because you're wasting everyone else's time. You are a fracture to a culture. Okay, to a vision and a mission. But here's what I want. I want everyone to just recognize we all want opportunities. We all want to convert them. Trust your leaders who have standards and expectations. Leaders keep recruiting, and agents keep doing the activity. You're with your leader for a reason. A big reason, you trust them. Have an amazing day.